Hello, my dear students, and we are continuing a course about personal efficiency, or it seems to me the more correct name of the course is personal efficacy. So my name is Dr. Olga Saveleva. I'm an associate professor of the Sechenov University, and I'm a researcher at the Laboratory Perception of Lomonosov MSU. You can find information about me as about a scientist by this link, and feel free to contact with me if you need it. Our course structures is the next 4 lectures and practical classes. At the end, the test is waiting for you. The evaluation criteria is very easy: attendance at lectures, attendance at practical classes, active participation, and admission to the test. And today, the second lecture, motivation and goal setting. Since the beginning of industrialization and the advent of factories, people have been trying to figure out what motivates employees. One of the very first theories was developed by Frederick Taylor, who wrote The Principles of Scientific Management in 1911. More recent theories of motivation include different theories. Unfortunately, most of the theories of motivation differ in what they think the best way to motivate employees is. The reason the theories draw different conclusions is that motivation is somewhat of a black box, where it's difficult to see what's going on inside our heads, and each of us is unique enough to make it very difficult to draw anything other than very general conclusions. In general sense, you can think of motivation as working as follows. As you can see, each of us has needs. Your needs will be different from my needs, but each of us is motivated by our needs to exhibit certain behaviors. The aim of our behaviors is obviously to meet our needs. Whether our needs are satisfied or not can then cause us to change our needs. In this way, the circle begins again with our new needs potentially causing us to exhibit new behavior. As we already discussed, there are many different theories of motivation in existence, and each of them is different. However, they can be categorized in two groups, known as content theories and process theories. Content theories are also sometimes called needs theories. They look at motivation from the perspective of our needs and aspirations. The theories then discuss motivation in terms of filling these needs. You can think of content theories of motivation as focusing on what will motivate us. The main content theories of motivation are Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Alfred's ERG theory, McClelland 3 needs theory, and the others. Process theories look at how people are motivated. They are concerned with the process by which motivation occurs and how we can adjust our process to alter motivation levels. You can think of process theories of motivation as focusing on how motivation occurs. The main process theories of motivation are Skinner's reinforcement theory, Room's expectancy theory, Adams' equity theory, and Loki's goal-setting theory. The diagram below shows how the different motivation theories fit within the scheme of things. So we will discuss not all of the theories, but a small part. And we'll start from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's also known as Maslow's theory of human motivation. This is a popular motivational theory explaining that as humans, our actions are motivated by our desire to meet specific needs. Maslow focused in particular on the needs of employees in the workplace. His theory proposes that there are 5 types of needs that employees need to have fulfilled in the workplace for them to reach their full potential. The 5 needs come in particular order. When one of the needs is satisfied, the employee would be motivated by having the opportunity to meet the next set of needs in the hierarchy. Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist who is most well known for creating Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He first published this theory in 1933 paper entitled A Theory of Human Motivation. Then Maslow explained the theory in more detail in his book, Motivation and Personality. Other books written by Maslow include Toward a Psychology of Being and Maslow on Management. Maslow was awarded the Associate of Humanist of the Year by the American Humanist Association in 1967. The earliest version of the theory, and still the most popular version today, shows the 5 motivation needs drawn in a pyramid. From the bottom to the top, Maslow's 5 levels of needs are psychological needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. The pyramid represents a hierarchy. What this means is that only when a low-level need has been fully met would an employee then be motivated by the opportunity to meet the next level of their needs. A classic example to explain this phenomenon is to consider a person who is dying of thirst in a desert. They will not be motivated by high-level motivators, such as the opportunity to improve their French. Instead, they will only be motivated by their desire to quench their thirst, so they continue to live. This basic need must be met first. The key to understanding Maslow's hierarchy of needs is to realize that your needs are continually changing. What motivated you 5 years ago will not motivate you today. Let's examine each of Maslow's 5 levels of needs in turn. The model can be broken down into deficiency needs and growth needs. Deficiency needs are those needs that motivate people when they are unmet. The first 4 levels in the hierarchy are deficiency needs. Note that the longer deficiency needs go unmet, the stronger the desire to fulfill that need will become. Therefore, satisfying these needs is vital to avoid unpleasant feelings. So, for example, the longer you go without water, the more crucial getting water will become to you. The top level of the hierarchy concerns growth needs. Confusingly, these are commonly known as B needs, which simply means being needs. According to Maslow's theory of human motivation, your being by being motivated to meet your lowest level of needs. Only once you have done this do you move on to being motivated to meet the next level of needs. This process continues until you reach the top level self-actualization. Although the theory was initially proposed as a riding hierarchy, Maslow later modified it so the progression up the hierarchy doesn't have to be so strict, and that levels can overlap to some extent. This makes sense because for some people, achieving status level 4 might be more important than attaining love level 3. So the first level, physiological needs. Physiological needs are the basic physical needs that you must meet for you to live. They are vital to your survival. These needs include food to eat, water to drink, air to breathe, shelter to protect you from the elements, warmth to avoid freezing, and sleep to refresh you. Note that Maslow included sex within this category as a basic physical need because reproduction is vital to the survival of the human species. The second level, safety needs. Once you have met your physiological needs, the next needs you will look to satisfy are your safety needs. Once our basic physical needs are satisfied, we all want to feel safe and secure. These needs include being free from war, natural disasters, and violence. In the workplace, these needs include job security, a safe working environment, having access to grievance procedures, saving some money each month, and knowing you have health insurance should you become ill. Physiological needs and safety needs combined are often referred to as your basic needs. The third level, social needs. Once you meet your safety needs, the next needs you will look to satisfy are your social needs. At this level, you'll have a desire to develop your interpersonal relationships. You want to feel as though you belong. These needs include intimacy, friendship, and family. According to Maslow, at this level, you will feel you need to belong to one or more groups. The group could be a family group, a workplace group, or a social group. Belonging to a group is commonly called affiliating, whereby they officially attach yourself to a club or group. Feeling that people love you, that they care about you, and that you belong can help you avoid issues such as loneliness, anxiety, and depression. The fourth level, esteem needs. Once you met your needs at the lower 3 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, your esteem needs will become more important in influencing and driving your behavior. Esteem needs are your ego needs and status needs. At this level, you will be motivated by getting recognition from others, achieving high status, achieving respect, and feeling important. In a nutshell, you want to feel like you are making a contribution to the world and that others recognize this contribution. According to Maslow, there are actually 2 sets of esteem needs, lower esteem and high esteem. Lower esteem is simply the need for respect from others, whereas higher esteem is self-respect. Note that if you met your lower esteem needs, but your higher esteem needs are unmet, then it can be common to suffer from a condition known as imposter syndrome. Esteem needs and social needs together are often called our psychological needs. The lower 4 levels combined make up your deficiency needs, needs which, if unmet, will motivate you to feel them. We can now move move on to look and growth needs. The 5-level self-actualization needs. Self-actualization or fulfillment needs is the drive to become the best that you can be. It's about achieving your full potential as a human being. You can think of these first 4 levels of the hierarchy as being a set of levels you must master to enable you to reach the self-actualization level. Because we are each unique, at this final level, each of us will pick something individual to us at which we want to excel. It could be a desire to be the best parent. It could be a desire to be the best athlete you can be. It could be a desire to create the most beautiful art. It's a unique desire that motivates you each day. And we can talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs in a workplace or a place where you're having an education. All of the needs that Maslow described in his theory of human motivation are ones that employees will want to have satisfied in their workplace. Maslow's hierarchy of needs doesn't just exist for our personal lives, but in all aspects of our lives. To motivate employees, the organization needs to think of ways of incentivizing employees so that they feel as though each need is being met. This will give the employee the motivation to progress up the hierarchy. Here are some examples of actions employees can take to motivate employees using Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Physiological needs in the workplace. If your employees can't meet their basic physiological needs, then they won't be motivated to try and move to the next level. As an employer, you should ensure that your employees have a comfortable work environment, including access to clean water and restrooms. Safety needs in the workplace. Employee morale will be low if employees don't feel safe. That could mean that they are working in an unsafe environment, or it could mean that they are in fear of losing their job. As an employer, you should ensure your employees are working in a safe environment and that you treat them fairly. Handle redundancies and layoffs sensitively and carefully. Social needs in the workplace. Employees want to feel as though they belong. As an employer, you should ensure you provide team building, socializing opportunities to your employees. It would help if you also communicated regularly with your team to keep them in the loop as to what's going on in the organization. Regular communication is especially important if you manage remote workers. As team needs in the workplace, employees want to feel that they are doing a good job and that they are receiving recognition for their efforts. As an employer, there are many ways you can recognize employees to boost their esteem. Recognition can include career opportunities, special achievements, training, praise, perks and awards, and engaging employees in the decision-making process. Self-actualization needs in the workplace. When all the other needs have been met, employees will want to be the best they can be at their job. As an employer, it's your responsibility to help employees become the best version of themselves. Work with each employee to put them in challenging situations where they feel empowered to deliver. However, be careful that they aren't in too challenging in situation, as this will be demotivating. Each theory have advantages and disadvantages, and according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, here they are. Advantages. The model is easy to understand and apply as a basic level. It expresses the human desire to achieve and have more and more over time. It's a holistic approach to motivation. Maslow's model helps us understand that an employee won't be motivated to perform even if promised a great reward when they are tired, cold, and hungry. Disadvantages. There is no way to test Maslow's concept of self-actualization empirically. It doesn't take account of cultural differences. For example, the need to feel part of a team is higher in China than it is in the US, for example. Each person will value each need in a greater or lesser way. Esteem needs can be essential to you, but your peer may place a higher value of safety needs. For example, Van Gogh self-actualized through art, but lived in poverty for his whole lifetime. This calls into question the need to move up the hierarchy one step at the time. In reality, we typically don't focus on meeting one need and then meeting the next need. Instead, we can seek to satisfy many needs at the same time. We can discuss some tips to self-actualize. If you are interested in being the best that you can be and reaching the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, then here are some tips to help you get there. Also, you will achieve self-actualization in your own unique way. There are many everyday habits and traits that people at this level share. Try doing something new instead of always doing things in the same way. Form your own opinion and beliefs instead of simply believing the perceived wisdom. Be honest. Never manipulate people. Be prepared to go against the crowd. Take responsibility for your own success and life. Work hard. Identify limiting beliefs and feelings that are holding you back and work to overcome them. Maslow's hierarchy of needs was upgraded in 1917. First, to include cognitive and aesthetic needs, and later to include transcendence needs. Sometimes called Maslow's 7 basic needs, Maslow updated this model to include more growth needs while keeping the deficiency needs the same. These two levels have the following meanings. Cognitive needs. Once you have fulfilled your deficiency needs, Maslow believed that you would then be motivated by expanding your knowledge. Cognitive needs reflect our need to discover, experiment, and learn how the world around us works to expand our understanding. This is a crucial step toward self-actualization, as it involves opening your mind up and exploring new ideas based on evidence. Aesthetic needs. The next step is moving toward self-actualization is fulfilling your aesthetic needs. Once you have met your cognitive needs, you'll seek to meet your aesthetic needs. This can mean appreciating beautiful things in your life, but it can also mean achieving balance. For example, walks in nature can lead us feeling refreshed. Likewise, experiencing music can also leave us feeling rejuvenated. When we met our aesthetic needs, we feel intimacy connected to the beauty of the world around us. Maslow's 8-stage hierarchy of needs again kept deficiency needs the same and added one final level to the 7 basic needs. This is shown in the diagram. Transcendence is very peak of the pyramid in the 8-stage version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and refers to our spiritual needs. We become motivated by values that transcend beyond ourselves. And a short summary, Maslow's hierarchy of needs shows how that motivates us is consistently changing. This means that what motivated an employee last year will probably not motivate them this year. Maslow's original hierarchy was broken into 5 levels. A person starts at the bottom of the hierarchy. Only once needs at the bottom of the hierarchy have been met, will that person be motivated by trying to meet their needs at the next level. Broadly speaking, the model can be broken down into 2 categories of needs. First, deficiency needs, which motivate you if they are not present. Secondly, growth needs, which motivate you to grow and become the best you can be. So the next motivation theory we will talk about is the self-efficacy theory of motivation. Why do some team members work hard while others do the minimum they think they can get away with? Studies have been shown that self-efficacy is a strong predictor of high performance. Self-efficacy is the belief that you are capable of achieving a specific goal or performing a particular task. Self-efficacy is task-specific. For example, if your boss asked you to manage a simple project, then you might feel confident in your ability to complete this task. But if your boss asked you to pilot a Boeing, then you probably wouldn't feel confident at all. Self-efficacy is in general. It's not about being good at your job in a broad sense or believing you are a good manager or believing you are intelligent. These are more general beliefs. The higher your self-efficacy, the more you will believe you are capable of achieving a task of goal. Conversely, the lower your self-efficacy, the less you will believe you are capable to perform a task. Why is this important to motivation? Well, because people are less likely to give a task their full effort in their self-efficacy is low for the task. Another way to look at this is why would you give it your maximum effort if you don't believe you can succeed at it? Here are some background. Albert Bandura developed the self-efficacy theory of motivation. And we use 4 factors to determine our self-efficacy and in turn our performance for a task. The first point is experience. Experience refers to your past experience of completing similar tasks. This is the most important factor of self-efficacy. If you performed a similar task well in the past, then you are more likely to be confident that you can complete similar tasks well in the future. The second point, vicarious experience. You can develop self-efficacy vicariously by watching other people perform a task. If you watch someone similar to you perform a task and succeed at that task, then your self-efficacy will increase. Conversely, if you watch someone similar to you perform a task and fail, this can negatively affect your self-efficacy. The third point, social persuasion. You can increase your self-efficacy if others give you encouragement that you can perform a task. Likewise, your self-efficacy will decrease if you receive discouraging or disparaging remarks about your ability to perform a task. And the last point is a physiological feedback. When confronted with a task, you experience a sensation from your body. How you interpret these signals will impact your self-efficacy. For example, if you are due to perform a presentation to a large crowd of people, you might experience butterflies in your stomach. How do you interpret this feeling? If you interpret this feeling as being excited to get on stage, this will increase your self-efficacy. If you experience these butterflies as stage fright of anxiety, this will decrease your self-efficacy for these and similar tasks. In general, the more at ease you are with a particular type of task, the higher your self-efficacy will be. How to use the self-efficacy theory of motivation? To make use it, we need ways to build our self-efficacy. There are 4 ways in which you can build self-efficacy. If you are a manager, you can also use these approaches to help build a team member's self-efficacy, which will boost not only their competence, but also their motivation. Master tasks. To begin increasing your self-efficacy for a particular task, start by setting realistic but challenging goals based on where you are right now. When you succeed with that goal, build on it by setting a slightly more challenging goal. Over time, this accomplishment will grow to build you a high self-efficacy for this type of task. Here is an example from the workplace. Suppose you are terrified of public speaking. You could be building your self-efficacy by merely attending a public speaking meeting in a safe environment outside the workplace, such as, Toastmasters, TEDx. Over time, you might start to speak at these events and your self-efficacy will grow further. Once your self-efficacy is high enough, you'll eventually feel confident enough. Your self-efficacy will be high that you can transfer your newfound speaking prowess back into more pressurized environment of the workplace. If you experience a setback at any point, reset your goal based on where you are now and repeat the process. Resetting your goals and then continuing to progress after experiencing a setback will help you build resilience. The second point is model behavior. Find role models to observe who have high self-efficacy in the area of skill where you are looking to build self-efficacy. These role models can be a powerful motivating force, especially if they have also built their self-efficacy from a similar position as yours is now. If you can't find or don't want to find role models from the workplace, then the internet is a great place to seek our role models. The third point, social persuasion. While modeling behavior is about observing others who have achieved high self-efficacy in a particular area and using this as motivation, social persuasion is about finding mentors and coaches. These are people who will work directly with you to build your self-efficacy step by step, as they have themselves been there and done that. They can lead you to high efficacy more quickly than you could achieve under your own initiative. And the fourth point, improve your emotional state. We all interpret our past experience and the physical sensations coming from our bodies. Sometimes we can misinterpret this information. Suppose we get nervous before giving a presentation. This feeling is perfectly natural. But suppose we believe that we are bad at performing presentations. The feeling is so strong it affects our performance in our presentation. This is obviously bad. Because of our poor performance in our last presentation, we further believe in our minds that we are not good at presentations. Thus, we get even more nervous the next time we have to do one. But it's not that we are actually bad at presentations, just that we have interpreted the signals wrong. If we could learn over time to interpret these signals positively, we could improve our self-efficacy around doing presentations significantly. And one way to do this is by changing the limiting the beliefs we have. Of course, some disadvantages we can say about this theory. Most people can benefit from increasing their self-efficacy around tasks necessary to their jobs at which they are not confident on or competent. However, sometimes having a high self-efficacy has disadvantages. In fact, very high levels of self-efficacy can result in overconfidence in your ability or reduce performance. You believe in your abilities so much you don't put the necessary effort level. And conclusions. The self-efficacy theory of motivation is a way to explain motivation. Studies have shown that self-efficacy is a strong predictor of high performance. By increasing our self-efficacy or that of our teams, we can raise out confidence and performance. The next theory we will talk about is a reinforcement theory of motivation. Reinforcement theory tries to explain what motivates good and bad behavior in the workplace. It also gives us a mechanism to influence the behavior for our team using what the theory refers to as reinforcement, punishment, or extinction. Reinforcement refers to reward that are used to encourage good behavior, and punishments are used to reduce bad behavior. Extinction is similar to punishment but involves the removal of a reward that is encouraging poor behavior. The background of this theory, was developed by Skinner. He is an American psychologist. He was a professor of psychology at Harvard University from 1958 until he retired in 1974. Behavioral theories of motivation focus on how the results we are obtaining from past behaviors shape our future behaviors. According to reinforcement theory, for any given situation, individuals can choose one of several behaviors available to them. The option they choose will be the one that has had the most positive outcomes in the past. Although explained in less detail than reinforcement theory, something similar to reinforcement theory was first articulated by 1911 by Thorndike and become known as the law of effect of operant conditioning. Reinforcement theory argues that the internal needs of individuals can be ignored when you are trying to motivate them to behave a certain way. Why? Because it assumes that people learn to change their behavior based on what happens to them from exhibiting a certain behavior. As you see in the diagram, according to reinforcement theory, there are 4 factors involved in influencing workplace motivation. Driving forces encourage good behavior, whereas restraining forces aim to limit or stop a poor behavior. Sometimes we receive a stimulus for behaving a certain way. For example, when we behave desirably, we may get something nice as a reward, or a punishment may be our reward for exhibiting a poor behavior. Sometimes a stimulus is taken away, so if we exhibit good behaviors, we may have something taken away which has been irritating us. However, if we behave poorly, we may have something taken away that we liked. The 4 factors that are levels of motivation are positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. Positive reinforcement is a reward you give to an employee when they exhibit desirable behavior. Positive reinforcement encourages the employee to continue to exhibit this desirable behavior. Examples of positive reinforcement rewards include financial bonuses, praises, and time off in lieu, amongst others. It should be noted that the more spontaneous the reward, the more positive reinforcement occurs. For example, if an employee is expecting praise and they then receive praise, it will not have as general an impact as if the praise came out of the blue. Negative reinforcement also uses rewards. Here, an employee is rewarded for desirable behavior by having something unpleasant removed. As an example of negative reinforcement, imagine you have a new team member. Every day you check in with them to monitor what they have been doing in previous day. After 2 months of good behavior, you change your monitoring schedule to just once per week. The removal of daily monitoring is the reward. Punishment happens when you use negative consequences in the workplace to deter or stop team members from undesirable behavior. For example, issuing an employee with a written warning for use of foul language is an example of punishment in action. The employee is under no illusion that they must improve their language or they could lose their job. Don't confuse punishment with negative reinforcement. Punishment is giving something negative, whereas negative reinforcement is the taking away of something negative. Extinction refers to stopping someone's learned behavior. You can extinguish a behavior by withholding the positive reinforcement that led to that behavior in the first place. As an example, suppose you have an employee that is continually disrupting your other team members from their work. They are doing this by regularly talking while people are trying to work. How can extinction be used to curb this behavior? Well, the positive reinforcement they are getting from doing this is the engagement and attention of the other team members. Because of this, you could ask your team not to engage with this person at any level when they start trying to distract the group. Thus, their positive reinforcement is no more, so it shouldn't take long to see a reduction in their distracting behavior. Let's discuss a schedule of reinforcement. To achieve the desired behavior change, reinforcement needs to be more than a one-off event. There are two approaches you can take to provide reinforcement: continuous and intermittent. If you reinforce the behavior every time it happens, that's continuous reinforcement. If you reinforce the behavior only some of the time it happens, that's intermittent reinforcement. Generally speaking, continuous reinforcement is the quickest way to get someone to develop a new behavior. Unfortunately, it's often unpractical in the workplace. Because of this, intermittent schedules are more common in the workplace. Continuous reinforcement happens when the desired behavior is reinforced each time it's observed. Intermittent reinforcement. There are many variants of intermittent reinforcement, including fixed interval reinforcement. Happens when reinforcement is given at set times, for example, in a daily stand-up meeting. Variable interval reinforcement happens when reinforcement is given regularly, but not at set times. Fixed radio reinforcement happens when a fixed number of actions have been performed. For example, a mechanic is rewarded if he services 10 cars in one day. Variable radio reinforcement happens when a variable number of actions have been performed. For example, an employee is given their bonus if and only if they achieve all of their targets. Here are simple steps you can follow to use reinforcement theory with your team. First point, specify desired behavior. If you want someone to adopt a new behavior, the first thing you need to do is tell them. Do this as clear and objective terms as you can. Describe the good behavior you want to see or the bad behavior you want to discourage in such a way that it can be measured. It's also a good idea to put a deadline in place so that the individual knows the time frame they have in which to change. Measure current desired behavior. The next step is to baseline how frequently the behavior in question occurs currently. Unless we measure our starting point, it will be impossible to objectively assess if a behavior has changed or improved. Next, reinforce desired behavior. You need to determine how and when you will reinforce the new behavior. First, you need to choose one or more of the 4 types of reinforcement: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. Second, you need to select one or more schedules of how you will reinforce the behavior, continuous or intermittent. And the fourth point, assess change. The final step is to measure if the new behavior you want is increasing, is infrequently, quickly enough. If it is, great, but if it isn't, then you may need to reassess your approach and work through steps 1 to 4 again. And a short summary, the reinforcement theory of motivation attempts to explain how people learn their behaviors. As a manager or team leader, it can be a useful tool in helping you rectify poor behaviors and promote good behaviors. The next theory, Loki's goal-setting theory of motivation. It's a great framework to use when setting goals for yourself or for your team. The theory is based on research showing that with the right goals, you can increase both productivity and motivation. Loki and Latman were able to demonstrate that when you set specific and challenging goals and receive regular feedback on your progress, then your productivity and motivation will increase. Performance and motivating will increase regardless of whether your job is highly complex or low in complexity. So, whatever job you or your team currently do, Loki's goal-setting theory can help improve productivity and motivation, as well as showing the types of goals that can increase motivation. Their research also showed how not to set goals. They found that setting unspecific and vague goals failed to increase motivation. According to Loki's goal-setting theory, examples of vague goals include do the best, be better at your job than the rest of the team, complete your assignment to the best of your ability. It might seem obvious to you that setting vague goals like these won't increase motivation or performance, but the thing to understand is the first person to realize and prove this was Loki. While goal settings increases productivity, there are many reasons why goals increase productivity, including goals keep you focused on what's important. When you get sidetracked, you quickly realize that the distraction isn't moving you toward your goals. Goals make you more persistent. It's natural to have days where you're super motivated and other days where things aren't going so well. Having goals that you are committed to can give you the determination to push through the difficult times. Goals help you rise to the challenge. If you're committed to achieving them, then straight goals can help you to achieve more than you thought possible. Here is a Loki and Lightman 5 principles of goal settings. To be motivating and increase productivity, goals need to have the following 5 characteristics: clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, task simplicity. Let's examine each of the characteristics in turn of Locke's goal-setting theory. Clarity, to be motivating, goals need to be clear. When a goal is clear, it's easy to understand exactly what you need to achieve. It's not open to debate or interpretation. Conversely, when a goal is vague and imprecise, it's difficult to know if you achieved it. Take a look at the following diagram. According to the Locke's goal-setting theory, which do you think is the better goal? And the answers are the next. Clear, increase the customer here. Increase the customer satisfaction score by 15%, and unclear way, do your best to increase customer satisfaction this quarter. How to set clear goals? There are a number of practical steps you can use to help you set clear goals. Use SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, precise with a single focus per goal, measurable, can be measured so that you know when you have hit them. Achievable, the goal should stretch you but not be unachievable. Relevant, the goal needs to matter you. If you are working within an organization, you need to understand how your goal matters to the organization too. Time-bound, there is a specific deadline by which to complete the goal. Ensure you understand exactly how you know that you will have achieved your goal. Ensure you have a metric you can use to track progress toward the goal. Challenge. To be motivating, goals need to be challenging but not too challenging. A goal that is too easy to achieve won't motivate you to up your game and increase your performance. Similarly, a goal that you perceive as way beyond your capability won't motivate you either. It may actually demotivate you. For a goal to motivate, it must hit the sweet spot between challenging you but not over-challenging you. Too easy. Increase customer conversion rate from the present benchmark. Too challenging. Increase the customer conversion rate by 700%. And just right, increase the customer conversion rate by 10%. How to set challenging goals? Ask yourself honestly if your goal is too easy, too challenging, or just challenging enough. Think about what scenarios might arise to slow down your progress. Plan ahead. Perform some scenario planning to determine how you are going to push through these challenges if they arise. Commitment. For a goal to be motivating, you must be committed to it. Likewise, if you're setting goals for others, you need to ensure that they both into the goal. No commitment. You decide in a meeting with your boss that your team's targets will be, and then dictate these targets to your team. Commitment way. to work with your team to determine together what the targets should be and how they can be hit. How to gain commitment. Agree that targets are realistic and sensible with each member of your team and ask them explicitly if they buy into them. If any rewards are associated with hitting targets, ensure that they are wanted, desirable, and the process of deciding who gets what is transparent. Keep yourself on track by visualizing what it will mean to you if you hit your targets. Feedback. In order for a goal to continue to motivate you as you work toward it, you must receive feedback. For feedback to be effective, there must be a goal. Feedback must be received regularly. Both positive and negative feedback should be welcomed. If you are giving someone negative feedback, then make sure you do so in a constructive way. Good feedback. Set a team member's goals, then organize a weekly check-in to monitor their progress. Bad trying. Set a team member's goals, then forget all about them until their end-of-year performance review. How to give and receive feedback. Schedule a weekly check-in to monitor progress. Use an app or a spreadsheet to track progress. Use article information to explore effective ways to give and receive feedback. Task complexity. In order for a goal to be motivating, it must not be too complex. Highly complicated goals can be overwhelming and demotivating. Good target setting. Break down complex targets into sub-targets. Bad target setting. Set a complicated target and simply expect your team member to get on with it. How to handle complex goals. Break complicated tasks down into sub-targets. If you or a team member feels overwhelmed by a target, it may be too complex. Consider reassessing the target. And here is a short summary about Loki's goal-setting theory. The key takeaway from the work of Loki goal-setting theory is that goal-setting, when done correctly, can be a powerful tool for boosting motivation and productivity. This applies both when you're setting personal goals and when you are setting goals for your team. They identified five principles to follow when setting goals. These are that goals should be clear, challenging but not too challenging, explicitly committed to, involve regular feedback, as uncomplicated as possible. By using Loki's goal-setting theory, you can keep your team and yourself both productive and motivated. And the last one theory for today is a self-determination theory of intrinsic motivation, social development, and well-being by Richard Ryan and Edward D.C. What is self-determination? The authors said that it's a belief you can control your own destiny. It's a combination of attitudes and abilities that lead people to set goals for themselves and to take the initiative to reach these goals. Make your own choices, learn to effectively solve problems, and take control and responsibility for one's life. It's about being in charge, but is not necessarily the same thing as self-sufficiency or independence. It's an approach to human motivation and personality. It uses traditional empirical methods while employing an organismic meta theory that highlights the importance of humans' involved inner resources for personality development and behavioral self-regulation. It investigates people's inherent growth tendencies and physiological needs, the needs for competence, relatedness, and autonomy. Autonomous support is about the minimal external pressure. It's about provision of maximum choice and internal frame reference shared. Competence support, optimal challenge, developmentally appropriate demands, relevant feedback. Relatedness support, warmth, involvement, conveyance of belongingness. The authors dividing the nature of motivation for two parts: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. When we're talking about intrinsic motivation, we're talking about the people take action because of an abiding interest. They behave from a sense of commitment to excel, and they have enhanced performance, creativity, self-esteem, and well-being. When we are talking about extrinsic motivation, we are talking about such way of pressure. People take action because of a bribe. They behave from fear of being surveilled. They have less interest, excitement, and confidence. What is intrinsic motivation? It's the inherent tendency to seek out novelty and challenges, to extend and exercise one's capacities to explore and to learn. It describes the natural inclination toward assimilation, mastery, spontaneous interest, and exploration that represents a principal source of enjoyment and vitality throughout life. What is extrinsic motivation? It refers to the performance of an activity in order to attain some separable outcome. It varies greatly in its relative autonomy. And I just want to show you two types of scheme about the self-determination theory of Edward Deci and Ryan. So I don't think we need time in lecture to talk with more details about this scheme. We will do it during our practical classes. So you just can watch it and we will discuss the details during our practical classes. So now I want to finish our lecture, and I want to remind you that a turtle makes progress when it sticks its neck out. So have a good day. Bye-bye. See you next lecture.